Needs and need levels for case managers. Formerly known as goals has been replaced, or in this case renamed, as needs. As it has been renamed, no goals data has been removed. It has simply been renamed to needs. So you will still have that data that has been previously entered. As you can see from our test client here, what used to be the Goals tab is now renamed Needs, and the interface has changed slightly to fit that new name. So we're going to enter our first new need by tapping on New Identified Needs. And in the list that pops up here, you can select one or multiple. You'll also see that there are two new items, Physical Activity and Utilities. For this example, I'm going to select Utilities and Clothing, as this client needs both, and we're going to create. Now in the list that pops up here, you can see that both have populated. If I'd only selected one, only one would have shown. If I'd selected three, three would have shown, and so on. In this list, you can filter by organization if there are multiple organizations listed, or if this client is enrolled in multiple organizations. And you can filter by status if you have multiple statuses and you want to sort and only see the open ones, for example. To go into further detail, we're going to add need levels, starting with clothing. And in the box that pops up, you see the required fields start level, start date, target level, and target date. The start level is defaulted to 1, and all levels are defined down below. If you need further information to determine where the client needs to start at. And then the start date defaults to today. If this is a need that you've already been working with this client on, you can click the date and select a previous date, but you cannot future date a need. After reading over the target levels with the client, we'll say for this example that this client wants to reach level 5, which you can either use the arrow buttons up and down to set that target level, or you can manually type it in if you'd prefer. The target date is the date that the client would like to reach the target level, with this being a work in progress to go from level 1 to level 5. We're going to give them about a little over 3 months and say by the end of February. The comment field is an optional field. You can type any kind of comments in here regarding this particular need. If this isn't enough room for you to type, these little lines in the bottom corner will allow you to resize the comments box. You can resize it back down if need be. And we just click Save. And now the Add Need Levels has been replaced with a slider. You can see that it gives you the circle on level 1, that is their current level, and then the blue arrow is their initial level date for when they started this need. The green arrow indicates the target date, and that's to reach the level 5. Now we're going to do the same with utilities. Once again, start level, start date and target date. Definitions down below. We're going to use this start level at level 3, just to say that they're currently available but have been turned off before in the last year due to financial instability. And they would like to reach level 5 as well. They have a more accelerated need to reach this level, so we're going to say they want to reach that by the end of January. And click Save. Now, as you can see, both the circle and the blue arrow are on level 3, as that's where we started, and that's the current level we're on. And then it has the green arrow under level 5. Now if you look up here at Needs Summary, this provides on one screen the information that you've entered so far. You'll notice that on the second need, they don't have any information for target levels 1 and 2 as we started at level 3. You also have the option to print from this screen, in which a new window will open up if you'd like to provide this to the client, or if there's any other parties that may need this information, for example, should the client have consented to share that info as well. I'm going to cancel out of that. And since we're done there, we can just click cancel. Now we'll say that this client has reached the clothing of level 3. We'll say they went out and got a job today, for example. So when we click on the blue eye, as you can see, it gives you all the current information as well as the target information, when the current need was achieved, and the user that entered it. We're going to click on the Edit button to modify this. And we'll say that they reached level 3. If you read the definitions here to help. And since I can't future date it, I am going to select today, just as a hypothetical. But if it was a couple of days later, then further dates would have been available. And then when we click on Save, you'll see that the blue arrow stayed the same at the initial level date, but the circle has moved to 3 to indicate its current level. And if we go back into Needs Summary, you can see once again that this box has been skipped because they didn't meet that level necessarily. They skipped right over it, moved to level 3. Had we entered it level 2, that achieved date would have been in there as well. No changes were made yet to the second need, so no changes will be seen here. Now, should we need to change any of these, you can click on Edit. We'll say, for example, that this issue is chronic, since the definition actually said that in more than one cases in the last 12 months their utilities were turned off. So we're going to leave a comment in here because now it is a required field due to the chronic status. On payment. And then click Done. So you can see that in the comments here. If we go into Needs Summary, this is not a field that shows up in the Needs Summary. So if this is something that you'll need to print, you'll need to do so another way. Now, should this information have changed, we'll have to revisit that. So going back into the clothing, for this example, we'll say that they've got all the clothes that they need and their situation has changed, and they are ready to complete or resolve this need. We're going to click on Resolved, and then Done. And that client need edit is successful. Now, since this issue was chronic, we're going to enter it another time. And as you can see, we now have 3 different statuses here. But if we only want to see the open one, we can filter that out. Now we're going to add the need level. We already know their start level was 3. This time we're just going to try to get them to 4 by the end of the month. And there we go. Now once again it shows the circle on 3, arrow on 3, green arrow on 4. Now if the client comes back in and says my situation's changed, I don't have that need anymore, it's not, maybe not that it needs to be resolved, but that it needs to be removed. This can also be used for if you use the wrong need, or if you need to make other modifications and didn't need this need anymore. Click on Edit, change the status to Removed, then click on Done. It'll prompt removing the need is permanent. There is no undo. Are you sure you want to review this client? And click on Remove. The screen will refresh, and that need will no longer appear. And as they have no other open needs, you won't see any needs on the screen until you change the status. And that concludes needs and need levels for case managers.